I titled this "For Your Information" because I'm not the copyright police nor am I a lawyer. I'm here to disseminate information so you can make prudent decisions about materials you use for instruction. We're going to discuss the copyright law, fair use, and the TEACH Act. Hooray for fair use! We have to say hooray for fair use because when we look at the Copyright Act, it does not give us rights to use the information in our classrooms. Because the 1976 Copyright Act basically gives the owner the exclusive right to authorize others to reproduce the works, distribute copies, perform the work publicly, or display the work publicly. If not for fair use, we would not be able to use many of the materials that we use in our classrooms. When using materials, there are 4 factors which we need to be aware of. These 4 factors are used when deciding a legal case against someone in violation of the copyright law. They first look at the purpose and character of the use. They look at the nature of the copyrighted work. They look at the amount of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. And they look at the effect of the use upon the potential market for or the value of the copyrighted material. If you are using the materials and you do not break any of these 4 factors, then you should be fine using the materials. Not exactly sure what all that means? Maybe rules of thumb will help you just a little bit. If you basically keep the number 10 in mind when dealing with fair use and copyright, then I think you'll be okay. You shouldn't use more than 10% of a complete work. You shouldn't use more than 5 pictures from a single artist. You shouldn't use more than 10% of a video or 10% of a song. If you record something off of TV, you can keep the show for 10 school days. Now you may be wondering what the TEACH Act is all about. Well, the TEACH Act came into being when we started doing distant learning and web learning. The TEACH basically stands for Technology, Education, Copyright Harmonization Act of 2002. It basically does what fair use does for face-to-face instruction. You may be wondering, what does it say that's different from the Copyright Act? It basically addresses any information that you are using within your web-enhanced, your hybrid, or your completely online distance learning classes. Any copyright work that you are using in the live classroom setting may also be used on your online courses. However, you may not use materials created for online courses. It must be an integral part of the class experience, not just watching a YouTube video for fun. And also, the entire performances of any non-dramatic literary or musical works may be transmitted. Digital material must be on a secure server. Access must be restricted to students enrolled in the course and password protected. It must incorporate reasonable measure to prevent students from making copies, and it must be only kept for the duration of a class session. It's important that copyright notice is also given to students. This notice has been placed on the Angel webpage. The materials on this course website are only for the use of students enrolled in this course for purposes associated with this course and may not be retained or further disseminated. To help it make a little bit more sense, we're going to take a look at 4 scenarios. The first one is an instructor uploads a streaming audio recitation of the bridge in its entirety to her online course. She asks students to post responses to 3 questions about this fable. Is this allowed? Yes, this can be done. You're allowed to post a performance of a non-dramatic literary work in its entirety, and also they put it into a streaming video that cannot be copied. An instructor is teaching a distance ed class this semester. In September, she used a film clip left it on the server for a short duration of the class session. The students can no longer access that session. Today is November, and she wants to emphasize a point and show once again the same clip. This also can be done. The Teach Act does not bar the reuse of the same clip in the context of a second class session. Rather, you are enforcing an earlier point or making a new point from the same work. An online instructor wants to incorporate EPAC material into her course by copying the material from the sample CD-ROM given to her to review from a publisher. This cannot be done. The sample material is not for distribution because it is marketed for instructional use in an online class. An instructor provides a link to a YouTube video in his Angel course. This can be done. A link to a video that is already online is not a violation. No copy of the video is being stored on your server. If you need more information, please see your librarian. There is more information about the copyright and the Teach Act and fair use within your library.